Hello, y'all. We're here again. I am absolutely furious. I am furious. I might not sound furious, but I am. It's 20 to 7 my time, 20 to 7 a.m. my time, so I haven't got long because very soon the dogs are going to get antsy and they'll want to go for a walk. But I woke up at 5:30. I've had a really good night's sleep. I went to bed early. Woke up at 5:30, checked YouTube, saw that Neverless True Crime had shared some screenshots from a communication that Lana, who speaks on behalf of the Vaughan family, she got in touch with the news outlet that published information from the probable cause affidavit that's been sealed by the court. And in my live yesterday, we played the arraignment, and clearly we all heard the judge seal those documents. He sealed, in agreement with the prosecutor and the defender, the documents should be sealed. That includes the probable cause affidavit, and it includes any investigatory materials that go along with it. So, okay, so I'm going to share that with you. And the reason why I've gone live, even though I've not got long, the reason why I've gone live is I want you guys who are in Mountain Standard Time to check the time that the article was published. So I'll share the communication, and then at the end, I'm going to just read through the latest Fruitland police update. They've updated their Facebook page, so I'm going to share that as well. All right, so this is the statement. So it was published by East Idaho News. I'm assuming that the Idaho Statesman is like a sister thing. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This outlet published it. So this is the communication between Lana and... Oh, I've not shared my screen. Hold on a minute. Sorry, guys. All right. This is the communication. Hi, Lana. We did publish information from the probable cause affidavit. However, I accessed that document at the courthouse 2 hours prior to the judge's order to seal it. Okay, so it was, as we kind of talked about on the live yesterday, that perhaps they were able to access it. Perhaps it did go live on the court system for a period before it was sealed. So it sounds like that's actually what happened. It was a public document. We had already published a story, including the information from the affidavit, before it was requested or ordered to be sealed. Since that information had already been published, removing it would be a retraction, which is not something we take lightly. Wow. Wow. You obviously take lightly publishing and continuing to have live information that was sealed. We have high standards for retracting articles, and one of those standards would be that the information we've published would be proven untrue. To my knowledge, that's not the case here. We have also not heard from the prosecutor, judge, or police department letting us know that there was an error in the article. So all they're concerned about is whether what they published was factual, as in it was actually information that was in the affidavit. So, not heard telling them that there was an error in the article, or explaining why the information was sealed or why it would impact their case. The judge said it. The judge explained. The prosecutor and the defender gave their opinion on why this documentation should be sealed. So this, whoever this person is that responded to Lana, is living in their own world, or didn't watch the arraignment because the judge explained. The judge explained. I'll play you it in a minute. I'll play you it. I know that's not the answer you were hoping to hear. If you've any further questions, I'd invite you to get in touch with my direct editor or our editor-in-chief. So those are the email addresses for the editor and the editor-in-chief. So obviously they're concerned about any legal implications of this. So it comes down to what time this article was published, in my opinion, because they said that they accessed the document courthouse 2 hours prior to the judge's order to seal it. Okay, so if it was live on the court website 2 hours before, so the arraignment was 1:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Fruitland time. There was a small delay, I think, just, you know, kind of reading between the lines of what the journalists were posting on Twitter who were in the court. So let's say by 2 p.m. or 2:30, I don't know, but early, excuse me, early afternoon, that documentation was sealed. So let me just play you the last couple of minutes of the arraignment, because I've got that here. Hold on a second. Right, here we go. Right. Right, it's right at the end. So the whole arraignment was about 12 minutes, and it was right at the end here. I'll put the CCs on. Not that it helps, because the CCs are terrible. Like, YouTube generates these CCs, and it doesn't matter what accent you have, it just gets it wrong. Anyway, hopefully it does help a little bit with the volume. I'll turn mine up. Anyway, right, let's just find this. It's only in the last couple of minutes. Right, let's we'll start at 9 minutes, 10 minutes.
David would have on the investigation.
Oh, okay.
We respect. All right, and Mr. Your Honor,
You guys can't hear it. Oh, it's okay. Right. Sorry. Oh, I know why. It's because I'm sharing my entire screen. So when I mute out, it mutes the whole thing. Sorry, guys. I'll start it again. It is very early in the morning for me, right? You know. Right, I'll start that bit again. Okay.
can you take up a procedural issue? Yes, I did receive, in this case, a motion, though I wasn't even filed yet. My clerk just handed it to me, a motion to seal at least the affidavit of probable cause, as I understand. Is that right, Mr. Duke? That's correct, Your Honor. Does the defense object to taking it up now? No, Your Honor. All right, and Mr. Duke. Your Honor, the state is requesting that the probable cause affidavit be sealed. Obviously, this is a high-profile case, and there are privacy concerns as well as jury trial concerns, should the details within the PC affidavit be released. And in addition to those articulated in the motion, there is still an ongoing investigation, so we worry about the impact that releasing certain details of the PC affidavit would have on the investigation. So we respectfully request that the court seal the PC affidavit, at least temporarily, until we can have more time to flesh out those matters. Thank you. Ms. Maloney, what response do you have, if any, if you have an objection at all? I suppose.
Your Honor, defense joins the motion, and I think it's appropriate pursuant to Idaho Board Administrative Rule 32, little I to big E, that this could jeopardize future proceedings, given the public nature of this case at this time. So I would ask that the court grant the state's motion.
All right, I've reviewed Idaho Court Administrative Rule 32, I, and the authority that the courts have to exercise discretion in the sealing or not of court documents. And I am going to seal the affidavit of probable cause and the investigative reports attached thereto pursuant to the motion, specifically taking into account subpart 2E and the preservation of right to a fair trial. The board is aware of the intense public interest in this matter and how publication of the details of this case may interfere with the ability to panel a jury and receive a fair trial in the case. In addition, the less focus, I suppose, for the court, there are some risks of harm to persons should that information be publicly available. And so in the circumstances of this case, the interest in privacy predominates over public disclosure, as is set forth in subpart I-1. I'll ask you, Mr. Duke, to prepare a word detailing those findings as required by the rule and sealing the case. Of course, this is something that's subject to being revisited should that be determined to be appropriate or necessary. So the word will last until it's revisited by this court or some other court. Do you have any questions about that?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything else to take up today from my opinion?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much. Are you, Sarah?
So there you have it. I thought that was clear. So the motion that was forwarded, the prosecutor explained why. So the prosecutor's the male, explained why. Then the defender, the female, got up and she explained why she agrees. And then the judge went through the reasons why this documentation, it's the privacy concerns, the high profile nature of the case could have implications for arranging a jury. It could have implications for the right to a fair trial. And those privacy concerns trumps the public's need to have that information at this moment in time. Right? So let's now we've heard from the prosecutor, the defender, and the judge. I thought it was very clear, but this person, whoever's wrote to Lana, said we've not heard from the prosecutor, judge, or police department letting us know there was an error in the article or explaining why the information was sealed or why it would impact the case. Well, it was right there. It's right there in the public domain in the arraignment. So that's BS. That is utter bullshit. I could get very sweary at this point. I'm furious. So what they're saying, as long as they've not done anything illegal, because it was a public document when they published the article, that's all they care about. Well, okay, that's the line you're taking. This is the article. So eastidahonews.com. Woman appears in court for failure to report death in case of missing Idaho boy. I'm not going to show you the text of the article. You can get this. I just don't want this information on my channel because I believe that this should have been private. So I'm just making a stand, I guess. I don't know. But look, posted November 14th, 2022 at 4:58 p.m. and then updated at 5:10 p.m. So my question is that my time or is that Idaho's time? Because I'm 7 hours ahead of Idaho. So if that's posted in my time, like, you know, like on Facebook, when you look at a Facebook post, it shows you the time that a post was made based on your time, or specifically the time that's on your device that you're accessing Facebook from. So my question is, if that is my time, then 5 p.m. or thereabouts, that would be 7 hours off that, 10 a.m. 9 a.m., whatever, right? It'd be in the morning. But if that's Idaho time, that's the time it was published. Where am I reading it, Karen, Texas? East Idaho News. So it's eastidahonews.com and then whatever the title of the article is. Like / whatever. Okay. I need to share my screen, don't I? There. So eastidahonews.com. Woman appears in court for failure to report the death in case of missing Idaho boy. This is the post time. Posted November 14th, 2022, 4:58 p.m. Updated about 12 minutes later. So is that my time? If so, because I'm 7 hours ahead, that would be in the morning. So the statement made to Lana would be accurate. This is important. This is really important. Because if this was posted in Idaho time at 5 p.m., that's well after the documentation was sealed. So people are saying that's their posting time. So if they posted it at 4:58, like if you're in Mountain Time, what time does it tell you on this article? I'll put a link to it in the. I didn't want to share this article on my channel, but I think this is really important, and it trumps everything else. So if you're in Mountain Time, can you just click on that link that I've put in the chat there and see what time it says on the article? So November 14th, 4:58 p.m. So-and-so says, I've already checked. It says 2:15 p.m. Okay. So are you guys, there's some discrepancies. Some people are saying 2:15. Some people are saying 4:58. I'm in Central and it says 5:10. Carrie says, I'm in Washington State And it shows on the website here the same time as mine. There might be more than one version of this article, because I know some people were sharing it from the Idaho Statesman, which I'm guessing is a sister paper or another local outlet. I don't know. But this is the article that I'm using. So everybody is saying that it's the same time. And this article, the link that I've put in the chat. So I'm in Mountain Time. So you're all saying 4:58. Okay, so that's after the documentation was sealed. So this here is a lie, in my opinion. In my opinion. So yeah, they might have accessed the document at the courthouse 2 hours prior to the judge's order to seal it, and at that point it was a public document. But saying we already published a story, including the information from the affidavit, before it was requested or ordered to be sealed, is not true. Because if this article, thank you, Nanny Love, for the $19.99. It's very much appreciated. So that's a lie. Or it's a misspeak. Because this article here, which is live on the internet right now, right here, was posted after. The arraignment was at 1:30. The arraignment, it was a little bit late starting, I believe, but it was only 12 minutes, and it's the latter 2-3 minutes of that arraignment. So by 2:15, you know, around that time, that's when those documents were declared sealed by the judge. The explanation of it was very clear from the prosecutor, from the defender, and from the judge. Both sides agreed that that documentation should be sealed. So what this person in response to Lana said is inaccurate. We'd already published a story, including the information from the affidavit, before it was sealed. 4:58 cannot be before that was sealed. It cannot be. So directly off their page, this story was originally published November 14th at 2:15. Well, 2:15 would still be, it probably would be right around the time that those documents were sealed. But this article here, this is off their website, eastidahonews.com. So there must be more than one version of this story. But whichever way, this article, that's right in front of me here, should be retracted because it was published after the documentation was sealed. It's a moot point because the cat's out the bag, right? There was a comment in the chat that I replied to before I went live, actually, saying that the title was misinformation. Right at the top of the chat. I don't know whether I'll be able to see it here. Okay, yeah. They didn't release sealed information. It was sealed after the cat was already out of the bag. This title is just spreading misinformation. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. So I responded. This was before I went live. I'm furious the editor didn't retract the article. Yes, the cat's out the bag because of their unethical stance in this case. Because I'd already checked the time that the article, the version of the article that I have, was published after the arraignment. And the reason why, as I said, the reason why I wanted to chat about this is because I wanted to see whether this time is in Idaho time, in mountain time. And it does seem, according to you guys, it does seem this was posted after. Now, if there's a version that says 2:15 p.m., then it's still after. Or it would have been maybe right on the time that it was sealed. It is a moot point because the cat's out the bag. This wasn't retracted in time for the entire internet covering this case to get access to it. Loads of YouTube channels have talked about it, have shared it, have talked through their opinion on it. And I don't blame them whatsoever. I don't blame them at all whatsoever, because taking a news piece and discussing it, there's nothing wrong with that. I feel icky about sharing it, but that's just my personal opinion. But I don't blame anybody else for sharing it, because it's out there anyway. The cat was out the bag. My problem with this is that it was posted, it was published after the documents were sealed. It doesn't matter if the journalist accessed it before they were sealed. It was still published after. It's right there. This article should not be online. And if there is a version, as I said, that says 2:15, then that's still after. Oh, right, oh, bang on the time that the judge sealed it. So I don't know what to tell you. The East Idaho News are very good. Like as I said in my live yesterday, they're very good. They're like the coverage of the Daybell Valor case, the way that they've supported Dylan Round's family. I think they've done some good work for the true crime community. So I'm very, very disappointed in this response. Very disappointed in this response. And I think this should be, I think that this issue should be brought up with the judge. If the judge is contactable, the prosecutor and the police department. Celeste, you give up, good night. Seems no YouTuber is taking personal responsibility. This is nothing to do with YouTubers, Celeste. This is not. This is the East Idaho News. This is a mainstream media outlet that's very well known in the true crime community. People respect their reporting. And I'm very disappointed in the way that they've handled this. It's nothing to do with YouTubers. This issue, this is way more serious than anything a YouTuber has done in the last few days. The things that YouTubers have done in the last few days, yeah, it's not nice. It's heartbreaking for the family to have heard about this arrest from YouTube and not from the police. That's not the issue at all. That's a completely separate issue. This is a mainstream media outlet, a well-respected media outlet that has run with this story. And then this response is just really disappointing. Yemeni, the judge needs to read them the Riot Act, but what they've done surely is illegal. If it can be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that information was published on their website or any sister websites they've got after the documents were sealed, it doesn't matter if the journalist who wrote the story accessed it before. It's the publication time that's important. It's nothing to do with YouTube. Nothing to do with YouTube. Anybody who shared this on YouTube has done nothing wrong. Oh, I see, Betsy. People are confusing this with the Betty's, I can't say BHB, Betty's phone call to the jail. No, that's completely separate. That's what I said in my live yesterday. I thought that reading my comments to the video that I posted, people have misunderstood. Like really big time people have misunderstood, or they just not listened to the video properly, not listened all the way through. So my video yesterday morning, yes, I talked about that, but then I went on, I did it in a chronological order, and then I went on to talk about this, and people have confused it. So I think you're right there, Betsy. No, this is a completely separate issue. This is about the publication of sealed court information. They've not shared the affidavit itself. They've not shared the document itself, but they've shared the information that was within it. So surely it's the information that's sealed, not just, not the document, the physical document. Thank you, Judy, for the 19.99. Thank you so much. So their race to publish this first has left them in a situation that surely cannot be allowed to continue. It's a mainstream news source, yeah. It's the East Idaho News, very well-respected publication. I'd expect it from a rag like the Sun. They do all sorts of crappy things. But this is a well-respected outlet. As I said, they've done good work with Daybell Vallow. They've done great work with Dylan Rounds. They've really supported the family and, posted updates and just kept Dylan's name in the news. I'm very disappointed. We can see here, 4:58 p.m. Patty, I agree. The paper should be found in contempt. So-and-so. So I'm understanding that the Idaho Statesman should have had a reporter in the court and then call them back to hold the presser. The pressers, yeah. So from this, it appears that a journalist accessed the probable cause affidavit and the investigatory materials that goes along with it 2 hours prior to the judge's order to seal it. So in that time, it was public information. In that few hours that it was public information. But they're then claiming that they'd already published the story, including the information from the affidavit, before it was requested or ordered to be sealed. Well, we see here that this was published at 4:58, so 5 p.m. But the arraignment was at 1:30 p.m. And it was sealed during that 12-minute arraignment. We've seen it. This is it. This is it. So by the time the article was published, it had been sealed. It doesn't matter if the journalist accessed it before. It's the publication time that's important. And it does appear, right in front of our noses here, it does appear that this is Idaho time. So-and-so says published at 2:15. Yeah, there must be another version. They must have a sister website or something. And there's a version that went out at 2:15. But that's still after the arraignment. That's still after the arraignment. The arraignment was at 1:30. Now, if that arraignment, I know there was some delay, but there wasn't a big delay. There was some delay because there was another issue that they were discussing beforehand. I remember Alexandra. Hold on, I may even have the screenshot. from Alexandra, who was in court, Alexandra Duggan, who's been doing the reporting. Just a second. I may have it or I may not. I may have to go through Alexandra Duggan's tweets. No, I haven't got it. I have to go through Alexandra Duggan's tweets. I screenshotted the things that she was saying that was coming out from the court. But she said that there'd been a delay. But it wasn't a big delay. It wasn't a big delay. So even if the very first version of this came out at 2:15, so Keep It Real says it was like a 10-minute delay. Okay, so if it was a 10-minute delay and it started at, let's say, 1:40 instead of 1:30, well, the arraignment was 12 minutes. And by the 10th minute, so like around here, they're discussing why this documentation should be sealed. So it was sealed, like let's say it started at 1:40. The judge sealed it in 12 minutes. So it was sealed by 1:50, 1:55. So if the very first version of this story came out at 2:15, it's still after the documents were sealed. As I said, it doesn't matter if the journalist read it before. It's the publication time that's important. And it does appear, certainly this version was published well after that arraignment. If there is another version that says 2:15, it was still after the arraignment. It was still after the documents were sealed. I see that people are just not understanding why this is important. I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm so disappointed and quite frankly darn furious. Not understanding the dilemma. Why would this news outlet that has a good standing jeopardize that by publishing something that is sealed? Do people really believe that? Yes. It's there in front of your eyes. It's there in front of your eyes. It's there in front of your eyes. The arraignment was scheduled for 1:30. There was a small delay. So let's say the arraignment got underway at 1:40. The arraignment was 12 minutes long. By the end of that arraignment, the documents were sealed. So let's say by 1:55, the documents were sealed. So any news outlet that published a story after those documents were sealed that contained information from those sealed documents surely has done this illegally. And surely this response to Lana is inaccurate. We had already published a story including the information from the affidavit before it was requested or ordered to be sealed. That's not true. The version I've got here was posted at 4:58 p.m. Was the arraignment on the 14th or the 15th? It was on the 14th. When did I post this? I posted this November the 15th, but that was the day after because I uploaded the arraignment. I increased the volume. I tried to improve the volume a little bit. And I posted this on my channel on the 15th. However, it's a private, you can't see it's private. I just did it for my live. I just put it up online for my live so that I'd have an increased volume version and I could put CCs on for people because it's still difficult to hear. But the arraignment itself was on the 14th. Patty's got it. Patty's got it. So this is exactly the issue. Nicole Blanchard works for the Idaho Statesman. Her original article was published at 2:15 on November 14th and republished at 4:58, both after the order to seal. Exactly. So what this person wrote, so this is somebody responding to Lana. So Lana contacted the news outlet, and this is the response she got. We had already published a story, including the information from the affidavit before it was requested or ordered to be sealed. That cannot be true. Cannot be true. If this version is the later one and the original was at 2:15, it's still after the documents were sealed. No, Lisa. The case was sealed on the 15th. It wasn't. The arraignment was on the 14th. The arraignment was on the 14th. Tell me I'm wrong. Prove to me that I'm wrong because it was on the 14th. Hold on. I'm gonna pop onto Twitter. I'm sure it was the 14th. Do time zones make a difference? This is what I asked. This is what I asked. This is what I asked. That is the article that I'm reading, is that in my time, my local time, or is it in Idaho time? So we've concluded that no, people who are currently in Mountain Time see the same time on the article that I do. It's not like a Facebook post, which posts the time in your local time. It was the 14th, SSS. It was. It was. And Judy says the timestamp is in Mountain Time. Yeah, it is. Carrie says in the US it's the 15th. It is now, yeah. But when the arraignment was the 14th. It was scheduled for 1:30 p.m. on the 14th, Mountain Time. There was a small delay in getting the proceedings underway. Small delay. The arraignment itself lasted for 12 minutes. By the end of that 12 minutes, the documents were sealed. So any article whatsoever that came out after, that was published after that time, surely is in contempt of court, in my opinion. So it doesn't matter what today's date is. Yeah, it's the 16th for me as well. So it's 7:25 on the 16th, but the arraignment was on the 14th. So Minnie says sealed by 1:52 on the 14th. Yeah, that sounds absolutely right. So it doesn't matter if a journalist was able to see that document before it was sealed. It doesn't matter if it was viewable. It's about when the article was published, and it was published after the documents were sealed. The arraignment itself didn't include any information. I've played the arraignment. I've played it. I played it yesterday on my live. It's just 12 minutes, and the majority of it is just mundane. It's doing the necessary stuff, like making sure that Sarah Wanderer understands her charges, making sure that she has representation. So he appointed her a public defender. That's all the usual kind of stuff. And then right at the end, he addressed the motion that had come in from the prosecutor, asking for the probable cause affidavit and the supporting investigatory materials to be sealed. That's what he did at the arraignment. There was no discussion at all of the contents of that probable cause affidavit. There was no discussion of it. So yes, the arraignment was published. I've got it here. I played it yesterday. I've played the last 2 minutes of it again today to explain from the prosecutor's opinion, the defender's opinion, and the judge's opinion why this should be sealed. There was no content from that was at the arraignment. It's there, right there, all in the public domain. What did the reports disclose that they shouldn't have? The information from the probable cause affidavit. It's judged too sensitive for a public and high-profile case that so many people in the public, particularly in Idaho, are following. According to, in agreement, all sides in agreement, prosecutor, defender, and judge, all in agreement that this should be sealed due to issues relating to, eventually the defendant's right to a fair trial. And if the defendant doesn't get a fair trial, then their defense is just going to appeal. And if due process and the law isn't done correctly, that defendant can walk. This is potentially very serious. Potentially. It could do. That's the reason why it was sealed. In the judge's opinion, the judge said it. I'll play it again. For the people just coming in. I'll just play the last 2 minutes. Listen to what the prosecutor says, what the defender says, and then what the judge says. So the prosecutor speaks first, then the defender, and then the judge. Listen to what they say, the reasons why they all believe this documentation should be sealed. Listen to it. All right. Start it about there. Oh, no. Right, I'll start it here. Okay. What's happened to my window here? It's gone weird. I've stretched my window like really badly, so I can't get to my play button. There we go. Right, listen really carefully.
That's correct, Your Honor. Does the defense object to taking it up now?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and Mr. D.
Your Honor, the state's requesting that the probable cause affidavit be sealed. Obviously, this is a high-profile case, and there are privacy concerns as well as jury trial concerns. Should the details within the PC affidavit be released, and in addition to those articulated in the motion, there is still an ongoing investigation, so we worry about the impact that releasing certain details in the PC affidavit would have on the investigation. So we respectfully request that the court seal the PC affidavit, at least temporarily, until we can have more time to flesh out those matters.
So that's the prosecutor. So he said, listen.
Those articulated in the motion, there is still an ongoing investigation, so we worry about the impact that releasing certain details of the PC affidavit would have on the investigation.
So they're concerned about certain details in the probable cause affidavit would have on the investigation. Those are their concerns. Let's carry on. I'll go through this sentence by sentence if I have to get people to understand why this is so important, why this potentially is so detrimental to the justice for Michael Vaughan. I'll sing this from the rooftops if I have to. This is so important. Right, let's carry on.
We respectfully request that the court seal the PC affidavit, at least temporarily, until we can have more time to flesh out those matters. Thank you.
This morning, what response do you have, if any, if you have an objection at all?
So he's now asking the defender, does she have any objection? So listen to what the defender says. This is Sarah Wanderer's public defender. Listen to what she says.
Your Honor, defense joins the motion, and I think it's appropriate pursuant to Idaho Board Administrative Rule 32, little I to big E, that this could jeopardize future proceedings given the public nature of this case at this time.
So the defender says she agrees with the motion to seal these documents because it could jeopardize the proceedings. So she's acting on behalf of her client, right? So if the defendant, Sarah Wanderer, does not get a fair trial, if due process is not followed, that is not justice. That is not justice for Michael Vaughan. Okay, let's carry on.
I would ask that the court grant the state's motion.
All right.
So she requests that the judge grant the state's motion to seal the documents. Right, now the judge gives his opinion on this.
Idaho Court Administrative Rule 32I and the authority the courts have to exercise discretion in the sealing or not of court documents. And I am going to seal the affidavit of probable cause and the investigative reports attached thereto.
So he's sealing the probable cause affidavit and the investigative reports attached to it. All of it is sealed, at least for the time being. So he gives his reason why now. Okay, so the preservation, not reservation, as this says, the preservation of the right to a fair trial.
Intense public interest in this matter and how publication of the details of this case may interfere with the ability to panel a jury and receive a fair trial in the case.
There we go. There we go. That's exactly the point. Publication of the details of this case may interfere with the ability to, it's not animal a jury, so to arrange a jury and receive a fair trial in this case. That is why this documentation was sealed, and it's the publication of the details of this case. So it's an oversight that this wasn't sealed before. It should have been sealed right from the outset. You see, in the Delphi case, we all complained. We all complained about Richard Allen's arraignment being private and everything, all the investigative documents are sealed. We all complained about it. I complained about it. Like, oh, surely they can give us something. That judge in that case did exactly the right thing. Exactly. The arraignment had happened before we were even aware that Richard Allen had been arrested. It could cause a mistrial. Absolutely. Thank you, G of Twins. In worst case scenario, you know, where I'm catastrophizing a tad here, but this is why documents are sealed. This is why in high profile cases, documents should be sealed. From now on, right, in future cases, I believe I learn a little more every single case that I do, every single case that I follow through. I learn a little bit more, which I then use in future. So in the Delphi case, everything's been sealed. In this case, everything's been sealed, but only after the arraignment. The arraignment was public. Now, even though there was no details from the probable cause affidavit or the investigatory materials in the arraignment itself, the fact that the arraignment was public has instigated people digging into the documents. And East Idaho News, as they state here in this response to Lana, said it was a public document. We already published a story, including the information from the affidavit, before it was requested or ordered to be sealed. And it was accessed 2 hours prior to the judge's order. It doesn't matter when the journalist found it. It's when it was published. And it does appear that it was published after the documents were sealed. Do people understand what I'm saying now? Do people understand the problem? I think most of you do now. That's right, Tina. They sealed the Valor Daybell case also. Then have had cameras and audio removed from the courtroom by the judge for the trial. Public is being closed out of the whole process. Well, yeah. It's the right thing to do because seriously, journalists can't be trusted. They can't be trusted. So Karen Texas says, okay, I get it. No, for Tina, it isn't. Tina says, what matters is when the journalist had the information in her possession. No, it's when that journalist published those details, not when she had it in her possession. If she happened to read it when it was public domain information, good for her. It's the publication of it, the dissemination of it to the public. That's the problem. Not when she had it in her possession, when it was published. Because the judge says publication of the details may interfere. The publication of, not that some journalist read it beforehand, that's fine. And she can read whatever she wants beforehand. The sealing of this documentation was due to any publication of this information may interfere. Heather Feather says, not to disagree with you, Michelle. I have a question. If this is to keep things fair, how does not sealing smaller cases keep things fair for them? I don't know. Obviously, let me just put that on the screen. It's a very good question. Because the public has a right to the court process. But when a case, when there's certain aspects in that case that could jeopardize the defendant's right to a fair trial, then the judge can deem under, in this case, Idaho law, that the need for privacy trumps the public's need for that information. Now, we don't know, like there might be many smaller cases that never make it to, the public, never covered by the media. never covered on YouTube that have documents sealed for exactly the same reasons. I would imagine that there's plenty of documents that get sealed if, let's say, for example, there's other people named in that probable cause affidavit that are under investigation at the same time. Exactly, JD. This Nicole is not so smart. She's been caught red-handed, in my opinion. We'd already published the story. No, you hadn't. No, you hadn't. You hadn't already published it. Exactly, Trixie Star. Jury tainting, potential safety. There's many reasons why things are sealed. Exactly. We've got to respect the process. We've got to respect the process. Everybody has a right to a fair trial. If they don't get a fair trial, then the victim suffers. Because worst case scenario, it can be declared a mistrial. And it will take years for all of that to play out in the courts. All time, no justice. That's my problem with this. I know. I'll repeat myself as many times as I have to. This is why I wanted this to be live, rather than I could have done this in a 10-minute video. But I wanted it to be live because I wanted to discuss it. I wanted to be sure of my facts. And I wanted everybody to be on the same page. And I kind of knew that people were misunderstanding from a video that I posted yesterday. And I know that was quite vague. And it was right at the end, you know, the latter half of the video. I could tell then that people weren't understanding the gravity of this situation. So I'm sorry if it's boring that I keep repeating myself, but I'll repeat it as many times as I need to. Karen's going to sleep. Well, I tell you what, I'm just gonna, before I sign off, I'm just gonna read through the City of Fruitland Police's update. So they posted this a few hours ago now. And this is just their update on the investigation. Need to share my screen, don't I? Dear me. Okay. All right. So this is the latest update from the City of Fruitland Police. Okay. Update: the search for Michael Joseph Vaughan. The search continues for Michael Joseph Vaughan, now age 6. We will not stop searching and investigating his abduction until we find Michael and bring those involved to justice. Through the course of our investigation, we received credible information that the remains of Michael Vaughan could be found in the backyard of 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland. As a result, the Fruitland Police Department was granted a search warrant for the residence, along with to include the front and backyards. The search warrant was served on Friday, November the 11th. In the late evening, upon entry, officers encountered Sarah Wanderer, 35, one of the known occupants of the home. Fruitland Police arrested Sarah Wanderer as there is a probable cause to believe that she had knowledge of Michael's death and failed to report that death to law enforcement. The following day, so November the 12th, the Fruitland Police Department, joined by the Idaho State Police, Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, Fruitland Fire Department, and Fruitland Public Works Department, began a very methodical excavation of the backyard of Wanderer's home. Ground conditions have not impeded the investigation, the excavation. Ground conditions have not impeded the excavation. The Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue deployed specialty canines during the excavation. So those are the cadaver dogs. There was 2 cadaver dogs that went through. It was a Labrador and a German Shepherd. Breed doesn't matter, but I'm a dog person. So. At this stage in the investigation, it is important that nothing is missed. So law enforcement will and continue to excavate and search the property. It's a slow process, but we will continue until we're confident that the search of the property is complete. Chief J.D. Huff said, "We are encouraged and remain hopeful that our investigation will lead us to the truth. It is our belief that there are others who have knowledge of the abduction and death of Michael Vaughan. This investigation is ongoing." To date, the Fruitland Police Department has received over 1,500 tips and leads. We have received many new leads since this portion of the investigation began on Friday. We would ask for your patience as we continue to work through this. We would also ask that the Vaughan family's privacy is respected. We will post updates as information can be shared. If someone has or learns of information that can help find Michael, we want that information now. Tips can be sent to findmichael@fruitland.org or to Crime Stoppers at 343cops.com. Tips may remain anonymous. Please keep Michael in your prayers. Official updates will be posted on this Facebook page. So that's the latest update from Fruitland Police Department. So that brings my coverage of the case up to date now. So it's now 10 to 8 my time. Cassie's waiting patiently outside the door of this room. I haven't seen Tilly yet. I think she's still asleep. It's Tilly that starts all the big noise when she wants to go for a walk because she's so big. She starts running up and down stairs, and Cassie goes and gets my shoes and her lead. And oh yeah, it's a big thing. It's a thing every morning. So I'm going to sign off. So there is no remedy. Well, the cat's already out the bag. This is the issue. This is the issue. The cat's already out the bag. So many people have shared the article. So many people have talked about it on YouTube, and they've had a right to do that. I'm not complaining about YouTubers at all. I'm complaining about this one news outlet, the East Idaho News people that did this. That's what I'm complaining about. Well, they have. They have. That's what they've done. They've put a ban on the publication of the information from the probable cause affidavit and the investigatory materials that goes alongside that. Email me information about the law regarding publishing sealed information. Did you? All right. Will I be able to find it though? That's the thing. Oh, I see. Proof. So, proof the journalist was legally allowed to publish the sealed Wanderer information. To be honest, the law's an ass. If this is allowed, if they're allowed to do this, I don't know what to tell you. All right, I'll read it to you. I'm not going to put it on screen because it's got someone's real name on it. But I'll read you this information before I sign off. So, generally speaking, an order entered by the court to seal court records does not prevent a journalist from reporting on the contents of a document already in her possession. Wow. And there's a couple of, there's a link here. I'll click on that in a minute. But, okay, there are many different scenarios where this might come up, and a specific fact situation should be run by counsel. Generally speaking, however, an order entered by the court to seal court records does not prevent a journalist from reporting on the contents of a document already in her possession. A sealing order simply restricts access to the court files. It is not the same thing as an order directed to the journalist that prevents publication. The existence of a sealing order probably also does not prevent the journalist from reporting on a document obtained after the sealing order was entered. So as long as the journalist did not do anything illegal to get the possession of the document. Wow. Wow. So Wow. So sealing it was pointless then. You're right, Donna, but we're all wise in the benefit of hindsight. The fact that the court didn't seal it beforehand, the fact that everything must have gone live on the, you know, the court website, and this journalist grabbed it. Obviously, East Idaho News knows the law, and that they've not, that they, once they got it in their possession, they were able to share it. I just find it really unethical. Surely the law, if something's sealed by the court, the law should say, right, from now on, from this minute, you're not allowed to post anything that comes from that documentation. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Like I said, I learned something in every case. So, like I said, the Delphi case, the judge in the Delphi case sealed everything, even the arraignment. He did exactly the right thing, or she. I'm not sure what the gender of the judge is. But the judge in the Delphi case did it right. And I'm not going to complain. I complained about it. I'm not going to complain about that. That judge did exactly the right thing so that no journalist could get their hands on that document. Jamie, what happened? I just saw you were live. What happened? Yeah, go and watch the replay because I'm just about to sign off. I'm not going to go through everything again. Just watch the replay, and I hope it's clear to everybody on the replay. So, if the information in this email is correct, then there's no legal reason why the East Idaho News need to retract it. Wow. It's totally unethical. It really is. Totally unethical that they did this. I mean, I'd like to hear what the judge has to say about it. But I guess the judge is just going to say, well, you know, it was in their possession beforehand. They didn't obtain it illegally. Sorry, you know, the court didn't seal it before. Oh, wow. Wow. It seems ethics has gone out of the window. Yeah, it is. It is. Because even if you can do something, does it mean that you should? Is the question. Is the rush to publish something and get the scoop, is that more important than possibly interfering with the justice process? What's more important? The justice process or getting the scoop? And I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm not talking about YouTubers. I'm talking about the media. Everything, everybody. Yeah. Yeah. It's unethical, but it appears it's not illegal. I thought it would. I thought surely it has to be. I don't know. I'm going to dig into this a little bit more today. I'm passing a moral judgment. Well, I'm passing my opinion on it. So if that comes across as a moral judgment, then I'll own it. In my opinion, that article should not have been published. It's not. How is it ethical? How is it ethical? I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, SSS. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. Jury selecting will be brutal. Yeah, it will. I think they're probably going to have to take the case out of the county, aren't they? Or even out of the area. I don't know. They're going to have to deal with this now. And how they deal with it, I guess, will be you know, the next thing that we have to deal with in this case. So whether you think it should have been published or whether you think the journalist did nothing wrong is your call. Is your call. And I think that moving forward in any high profile case, I think everything has to be on lockdown. Unfortunately, it's not good for the public, but unfortunately, the public doesn't matter when you've got the publication of materials that will potentially affect the justice process, because bad justice is no justice. Get it wrong and a defendant can walk. So I don't know. Right, I'm going to go because it's now 8 a.m. I didn't expect to be on this long, to be honest, but it's fine. All right, so I'm going to go and start my day. And I'll be back later on this evening, my time, to update on whatever happens today. I'll be back later. All right, guys. Thank you for being really respectful. Even if you don't agree with my opinion, you've all been respectful, and you know, I've had the capacity here to give my opinion, and I'm thankful for that, and I value your opinion. So thank you for the super chats. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you to the moderators, and I'll see everybody later on today. Bye, guys.